LeAlan Jones, I am so happy that you are here on the show. What's on your mind today?
Oh man, I just left the gym, had a great workout starting the year. I'm probably 60 days ahead of my New Year's resolution in the gym, so I'm happy with that. Other than that, just monitoring things going on around the world. You know, President Trump is now winning, snatched the president and the first lady of Venezuela. You have Russian tankers being taken at the same time, so it's basically 39th Street politics has become global.
Well, I like when the news media, with that, I go on, like most people, go online and watch these videos, or maybe I'll read something, and they give the history of all the incursions or all the dictators and presidents that the United States have overthrown and replaced. I can't keep up. I should have a whole list. This is nothing new. What I'm trying to say, this is nothing new, right?
Nothing new at all.
Do the American people understand this ain't nothing new?
You gotta think the American people have been conditioned to accept things that would otherwise be unacceptable.
I mean, but for the average person, they say, okay, who is Maduro? Where's Venezuela? Where's Caracas? And is that gonna? Am I gonna lose my job? Can I still go to the Walmart and buy stuff at Amazon while he's in Brooklyn?
I think you're exactly right. I think the media cycles, with social media and with alternative media is just so much information that most people have to tune out because they can't frame what's going on, but it has significant impact on their day-to-day lives. So it's a very unfortunate conundrum that, people are demanded to use their time to try to be able to, uh, provide for themselves and their family, while at the same time pay attention to things that are going on across the world that have significant impact.
But my thing is that we haven't had a really bad war, if you will, since like '91, the Gulf War. If
No, you gotta go back to Afghanistan, and you have to go to the second time in Iraq in 2003, 2004 under George H. Walker Bush.
Yeah, I'm saying, but a lot of people the Vietnam War was going on when I was a small child, so it was just who I didn't understand anything. So we haven't had a long, protracted, scary war with thousands. How many people have lost? They had 1 million casualties in Russia. I don't know how many people actually was killed. They lost a lot of men, a lot of soldiers.
And you're talking about in what Russia currently, or you're talking about in Afghanistan?
No, no, right now, well, everybody gets run out of Afghanistan. We know that. But I'm saying here in Ukraine, they've lost a lot of people on both sides. American people, we're not ready to have a protracted war when we have thousands and thousands of Americans killed. And until that happens, I think people won't really give a damn. I mean, the average American. They see it on the news, but
I,
it's not going to
I
affect it.
think I think they've been desensitized, because I mean the way that you speak about so passionately and what happened in Afghanistan and what happened in the 20 years of war on terror, thousands of people's lives were lost. Many of those soldiers that came home that fought in those wars committed suicide. So it's one of those things that, even though it's not on the surface, it certainly was an impact for those people that were in those conflicts.
And what happens that I don't know, like the Vietnam War, I don't know anybody or family members that was killed in the war, or the Afghanistan war, or the Iraq war. And of course, we haven't had when I was a wee small child. I like saying the draft was going on, so we were little children in elementary school, grammar school. We like, oh, we're gonna be drafted. We're gonna be drafted. But a few years later, the war ended and the draft was over. So American people have been pretty. I don't know, treated very nicely. We really haven't had a real drama that's really scares. Now, for some of the stuff does scare people, but maybe it doesn't scare people like me and you because we were born and raised in Chicago. It's like the lady got shot and killed in Minneapolis the other day, and of course, somebody got shot and killed in suburban Chicago. I think ICE has killed about 5 people. So, and I hate to beat that drum because until it really hits home or close to home. How concerned are you as an American?
Well, Mark, I think I'll go back to the D word again. Americans have been desensitized, and it's convenient to have Americans desensitized to do exactly what you're doing now, and what's going to continue to happen. I mean, many people act as if many of these things that are happening under Trump are somehow anomalies, But when you go to the American president, I think I mentioned this to people, every man that has ever been in 1600 Pennsylvania Ave is an apex predator. And that includes Barack Obama. Barack Obama killed a lot of people with drone strikes. But these were not things that were promoted in the media that wanted to portray the presidency far different after 8 years of George W. Bush. But Barack Obama, I mean, he overthrew Muammar Gaddafi and used Wahhabi terrorists to do it. The same Wahhabi terrorists that committed September 11th, that blew up the Khobar Towers, that struck the World Trade Center in 1993. So, I mean, the American president is an apex predator.
I like listening to people like, on videos of Cornel West or Chris Hedges. I like what listen to Chris Hedges, videos, and of course, they say we are an empire in decline. So when they say empire, do you think America is a economic empire or more of a military empire, and or just we're a little bit of both? And we are. It doesn't seem like it, but we like all empires are going to end in decline and end. Do you think that the United States is a empire in decline?
Yeah, the United States has been an empire. It took over for the British Empire after World War One. So that gives us what is that 1914, and now so for over 110, 112 years, the American people have lived in an empire, a global empire, and that has global reach. You got to think we have a nation that extends from the Atlantic to the Pacific. So we cover both oceans in ways that no nation state could or has thus far to this point.
So why do you think I know you're more expert than I am. I'm not expert at all. I just watch the news
I
like
wouldn't
most
say I'm
e
an expert either.
No, but you more well-read than I am, but why do you think President, Trump and his staff, his administration, went in and captured, kidnapped, and whatever term you wanna use, the president of Venezuela?
Well, it's commodities. I mean, the American people don't realize that to live in a modern society, you require goods and services, and those goods and services have to have sources. And we like cheap gas. We like having industrial capacity, and all of those things require energy. And Venezuela has the largest crude reserves in the world, far bigger than Saudi Arabia, far bigger than Russia. And if you're the United States, uh, and you want to maintain the quality of life for your people and for the military industrial complex that also utilizes millions of barrels of oil on a daily basis, you want to have secure uh, places in the world where you can get those resources. And Venezuela is, far closer and far more controllable to the United States strategic interests as it requires to energy policy than Saudi Arabia, than Russia, and parts of the world where it's very expensive to maintain those populations to be able to utilize their resources for your national security and for your national defense.
What does that mean, gas prices will eventually go down here in the States?
Oh, gas prices are precipitously down. I think gas right now is, I know when I go to Sam's Club, it's $2.48 a gallon. That means a barrel of oil is probably somewhere between 50 and $60 a gallon, which is substantially lower than it was under the Biden administration. And inflation is curbing as a result of that. Food prices are going down, but energy is central to production in terms of food production and food distribution because it takes diesel to do that. So right now, the Trump administration is combined with its what is that, a big beautiful bill, and what their geopolitical policy is, the new Monroe Doctrine. They are making sure that uh, the interest of the United States is secure within its hemispheric ability to be able to control it.
Yeah, when they say interests of the United States, what does that mean? Because you take out the president of Venezuela. I mean, literally took him out of the country and brought him here to the states. But the regime, his old regime, is still there. That means they must have cut the deal with the Maduro regime, who is still there, and say, "Hey, we're gonna get the president out, but hey, we're gonna cut the deal. We're gonna run this game, and we're gonna come down there and make a whole Trump's people gonna come down and the oil companies gonna come down and make a ton of money," which is really kind of tricky because they have a lot of oil. They say the largest reserves, but the infrastructure is pretty bad. And of course, oil is. We have these what you call it, these electric cars coming, and people are trying to move away from oil. It's just. Hey, I'm a bad investor. Believe me. Is investing long term in Venezuela, is that a good long term bet for these
I
entrepreneurs?
don't know. I don't know. The I tend to believe that the analysis that has gone into the kidnapping of the president of Venezuela and his wife are much to do about the rise of China and China's need for resources and commodities. And when you take into account that China has billions of people that they have to feed, their economy requires petrol and oil as well. But also, just looking at South America as a whole, the largest port the Chinese built in, I want to say, it's not, it may be Peru, but it may not. Don't quote me on that. But they built the largest port on the west coast of South America and built rail systems in South America coming from places like Venezuela, Brazil, Ecuador, all of those places, Argentina, and having rail systems that are linked to go to that port on the west coast of South America to be able to get the resources that are produced there, whether they're agricultural, whether they're industrial, and being able to ship those to China while also taking those refined products that are made in China, like electric goods, those electric cars that you spoke of, telecommunication equipment, all of the things that can have an international trade. That's happening now on the west coast of South America, going all the way to China.
Well, my eyes and my brain is already glazed over 5, 10, 15 minutes ago. But so let's end this podcast like this. Go into your crystal ball, Lee Allen. Do you think that the United States will have or will cut some kind of deal with the Chinese government and say, "Hey, we're gonna stay on this hemisphere. You get to the China Rim and all that kind of stuff. You can have Taiwan. You stay over here. We stay over here. We can coexist in the world somewhat peacefully." Do you think they're gonna cut that deal at some point?
I doubt it. America is because of the U.S. dollar and the amount of treasuries that the Chinese government holds, and the fact that the holding of those treasuries are what keeps inflation low and commodity prices low, and to know that China has the ability um, to be able to react to any threat that the United States poses by dumping those treasury bills, you're going to have a lot of phony kicking it between both countries, and I think you're going to find that out in terms of how the conflict in Ukraine settles, because Russia and China are now spheres of influence on the global stage in ways that one would have never thought when you look at the fact that the Soviet Union fell and was at 89, 90, and it's only taken, and many people thought that they would be broken up and balkanized, but they're still there, and they're probably going to come out of the Ukraine conflict much more aggressive and much more honed in making sure they take their place on the world stage, where the United States no longer has unipolarity.
So you're saying that, are you saying that world war is inevitable, like soon inevitable?
You breaking up. What was your question?
Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah, I didn't hear the question.
Oh, okay. You froze up.
I
Okay, you back. Keep going.
Yes,
Did you hear the question?
I didn't. Can you repeat it?
The question was, oh, I'm glad you're back. The question was, do you think world war is eventually inevitable? I mean, like very soon inevitable.
I think World War it's already started. It's already started. I think it started under the Biden administration. I think that's why you had so many issues with the first Trump administration, is because a Hillary Clinton presidency would have accelerated Ukraine. Instead of waiting and after the 4 years of the Biden administration, no, under the Trump administration, and then you got to think in the first 3 months or 4 months of the Biden administration, the Ukraine war jumped off. So if you would have gotten a Hillary Clinton presidency, that's this would have all been accelerated into that presidency. But it didn't happen. And now the 4 years of the Biden administration actually brought those things back into play. And now the Trump administration is dealing with the spillover. So I
Well,
think World War III has actually already started when you look at geopolitical trade and the little conflicts that are around the world right now. But World War III, I think, has already started, but it's happened in terms of on the financial level.
well, I hope it doesn't get any more. We don't have any more war. This is enough because a world war can really cramp our standard of living. We don't want our standard of living to go down. Hey, Lee Allen, you gonna come back with this more depressing news?
No,
So,
it's not depressing. I just think it's just geopolitics. You're looking at the fact that the United States, for since the Bretton Woods Agreement, where the U.S. dollar became the global reserve currency, it was always going to be inevitable that as the world economies became more mature in the post Cold War era, that there would be a reapproach to how the United States dollar would be able to buoy itself at the expense of the rest of the world and producing nations. So it was always inevitable. And we're just in that, and we're now where inevitability is reality.
I'm gonna go take a nap now because I'm drained. LeAlan Jones, thank you for being my
Thank
guest.
you.
Back soon, and thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, do so. Mark is very humble and diligent about making sure people are educated about global affairs, even if they're not interested. So make sure you do.